like WWF does in fact have a position on GM products. We subscribe to the provisions of the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. You know, that amongst other things says that, you know, genetically modified organisms shouldn't be foisted on any society, and it says we should follow the precautionary principle. And those are things that we adhere to. The problem with soy is that, you know, quite a lot of years ago we were instrumental in getting the first standard for soy, which applied only to non-GM soy, and this is the Basel Protocol Convention. I'm sort of mixing up. There's so many conventions I mix them up. But WWF and some Swiss supermarkets established a standard for non-GM responsible soy, which was the basis of the current thing. The reason that, you know, and it wasn't a WWF decision, it was a decision of the Round Table. But the reason that the responsible soy codicil now includes both GM soy and non-GM soy is the horse that got out of the stable. That soy as a crop is 70% GM already. That's not something that WWF did or was in any way responsible for. Our aim in this process is we're trying to stop the environmental devastation that, you know, that you saw on the film that's happening in South America, in areas like the Cerrado, in Argentina and the Chaco area, in areas of the northern Amazon. And that's our motivation for being involved in this. And it's irrelevant to the destruction whether the soy is GM or non-GM. And we were faced with saying, okay, do we restrict ourselves to working on 30% of the deforestation and the environmental destruction problem? You know, no, you have to look at the lot. But one thing that WWF has done, against quite some opposition from the industry, is establish a module within the responsible soy so that there is a possibility of getting to market non-GM certified responsible soy. The problem with that is that the work hasn't been done to establish the market. Some of the NGOs that care about this issue, and good luck to you, you know, but my question to you is, why aren't you leaning and pressuring the wholesalers and the distributors and saying, okay, you can get from a couple of different things, it's not just the RTRS one, but you can get certified non-GM soy. Why aren't you saying, this is what we want you to take?
Okay. Well, some more people were asking to intervene. Maybe, yeah, very briefly.
But the Roundtable for Responsible Soy so far has not avoided any hectare of deforestation, and has the criteria allow for the expansion on what is now forest, except for some very high conservation value. But it does not stop any devastation.
Okay, we go here.
Hello, I'm Nicola. I volunteer for a number of organisations, but I'm taking part today just as myself. I'm a very practical person, and I've got a very practical question. So I first found out about some of the controversy about WWF following these responsible roundtables on responsible soy and palm oil. I am sceptical of working, as you say, working for business doesn't mean greenwashing. Well, in my mind it does. But that aside, and aside from the contentious issues in the film, I find your staff themselves condemn WWF very well by themselves in English without any questions of ambiguity of translation or other issues, which I think is interesting. And I think your approach in defending the positions of WWF in the film is an interesting one, because I was wondering whether the film has made WWF question internally some of these policies rather than just taking a defensive standpoint. And if it hasn't made you question your policies, then what will? Because I work with lots of organisations, I ask all of them the same question, and they say WWF is too big, we can't do anything about it. And if this film is a way of criticising or dialoguing with WWF that you don't like, what would you like us to do to get into dialogue with you, to encourage you to have more sustainable, more environmentally friendly policies, because for me that's what I want to know how to do, and I've been asking this question for a long time and I've had no answer, so to have you today here in front of me is great.
Do you want to intervene briefly?
Yes. Removing indigenous people in Indonesia and taking their land for palm oil plantations, removing indigenous peoples who live in harmony with the tiger. Is this something that is also sustainability for the WWF?
Okay, I have one more person who wants to intervene. That's Steven. Ja, ik weet niet hoe lang dat praat is. Ja, oké.
Hello, I'm Steven. I brought my daughter with me because I didn't have other daycare. Anyway, I tell you that's my daughter because I am, as a father, I'm quite concerned about what is happening in the world. I'm really, really concerned. We see this film here, and you ask us to trust you in your intentions. So I have a few very small questions. My first question is this reply, can I trust this? What is on here? Can I trust these words? Okay, thank you. I just read now one sentence of this reply about soy, responsible soy. It says, soy can be independently certified as responsible if it meets an RTRS standard which, among other requirements, protects forests and biodiversity, safeguards the rights of communities and traditional land users, uses water responsibly, observes and safeguards on agricultural chemicals, and observes fair labor conditions. Can I trust you that this is correct, that this standard does what it says? Okay, just one thing. I happened to be in Paraguay for several months. I happened to study all these RTRS standards. I happened to be very interested in the fate of these rural communities I've met, and I have discovered one standard of protecting, the only standard in RTRS of protecting these rural communities, is that it states very clearly that all soy plantations should urge that in their local police office there is a form where indigenous people and farmers who are chased away, there is a form, a paper form, where they can put a complaint. There has to be a form. That is the only standard to protect rural communities in Paraguay. Just for information, look it up at RTRS, the standards. This is just one example. The standards are bullshit. Thank you.
Okay, then back to you, Phil.
I better go through my list. Okay. If we start with the round table on responsible soy. Look, it's a start, it's a process. I am disappointed if the only thing on the social standards is a form that has to be in the... But, you know, it's something that is just getting going, and it is something that you know, we are an independent member of the RTRS, and we do have, as Nina raised a point before, we do have an issue which we are pressing with them on when the deadline for non-deforestations on areas that people may wish to bring into the RTRS standard is set. And so that's fairly recent. It hasn't been nearly as satisfactory a process as we had with the palm oil thing. But, you know, this is one of a number of issues that we are raising within the council. And this, you know, this is a round table. It includes all of the stakeholders. It's structured in a way that the NGO representatives have their own chamber, the producers have their own chamber, and the supply industry, so that one can't dominate the others. But, you know, I don't know the specifics of the form in the police station, but it is something that I'll check on. If you want to give me your card or something, or I can give you mine after the thing. Yeah. With the qualification that this is a process. We are trying to lift what is causing wholesale devastation across a lot of South America into a direction. And it's not the only process, it's not the only way, but it's part of it. Anyway, where else was I? What makes...
There was a question about dialogue with WWF, the question that
Oh,
movements
yeah.
are not getting a response, and all these things. Even national sections apparently are not in the possibility, etc.
Yeah. One of the reasons that I came here is that I had a sense that the channels of communication weren't as open as they could be. There is, they assure me in Brussels that there is at the top levels of organisations, there is a lot of dialogue in the task of lobbying the EU. But, WWF has a principle that it tries to be as open as it can be. We put a lot of information up on the web so that people can be informed. You can come back to us and get answers.
I want to inform you, I want to have an exchange. I don't want you to tell me what you think, I want to tell you what I think.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And we are, like a lot of organisations, still grappling with this brave new world of social media as one of the best ways of having a conversation with the world at large. We're not as good at it as we should be, but we're putting a lot of effort into getting better. Come and get my card later, and I'll pass those queries to the people who can answer them. I should talk about the thing of removing people. Like many years ago, there was an ethos that you set up national parks and you protect you put a wall around them. That went long ago. Sort of WWF has evolved along with, the scientific opinion on it that say, okay, well, you've got to protect habitat and you've got to protect things on a larger scale, landscapes, and habitats and landscapes have people in them. The film is quite wrong in saying that WWF India has ever been involved in the forcible removement of people from reserves. We haven't been. We have, in fact, been one of the major groups to oppose forced relocation in India and to try and strengthen the rights of those communities that want to voluntarily relocate. And there are such communities.
In Indonesia was saying in English that you were doing exactly that. So now I have this problem between your staff and yourself. Who do I believe?
Indonesia, we are not doing that.
And yet your staff member said you were. So is he wrong?
No. Well, the staff member, this was one of the areas where there was, if you look at the sheet you've given, this is completely misquoted, both the staff member and the chief.
He's talking in English about what WWF are doing in Indonesia.
This is
and the WWF staff member.
This is the woman and
the India guy.
the
Right at the end, when you're looking at the different
The
areas
chief.
that
Who is
are
saying
going
that?
down.
No, he's saying that 9 million hectares. I think.
well, we don't know where this
Palm
9
oil.
million hectare figure comes from. It wasn't in the original interview. The only thing that we can pick up maybe is that there was a very ambitious Indonesian government document many years ago that said, we'll have 9 million hectares of palm oil in all of Indonesia. But this is not something that WWF had any role in. This is not something that we played. We don't make those agreements with companies. We don't make those agreements
So your
with
staff
governments.
members on the ground are
Okay.
telling-
But
I just want to know who to believe because I
I'm just